สวัสดีค่ะดิฉันสิริมาชยสิริโสพลในนามของอมตะคอร์ปอเรชั่นจำกัดมหาชนยินดีต้อนรับทุกท่านสู่อมตะคอร์ปอเรชั่น Opportunity Day ประจำไตรมาสที่ 1 ปี 2559 ค่ะในวันนี้เราจะมาร่วมรับฟังการแถลงผลประกอบการผลการดำเนินงานของไตรมาสที่ 1 ที่ผ่านมารวมถึงแนวโน้มและอัปเดตโครงการต่างๆค่ะสำหรับผู้ที่จะมาให้ข้อมูลในวันนี้นะคะคือคุณสตีเวนซิลประธานเจ้าหน้าที่การเงินค่ะและคุณนฤพรอนันต์พงษ์สุขฝ่ายนักลงทุนสัมพันธ์ค่ะ Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sirima Chayasri Sopon. I would like to welcome you all to Amata Corporation Opportunity Day for the first quarter 2016. Our speakers today is Mr. Steven Seal, Corporate Financial Officer, and Ms. Narupon Anantpongsuk, Investor Relations Executive.For the agenda today, first, Mr. Steven will give you an overview about Thailand and our sector. Then, we will talk about pre-land sales and land transfer update. After that, you will hear about results of the first quarter 2016. And lastly, we will talk about project and expansion update. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Let's welcome Mr. Steven Seal.Yeah,
good afternoon. It's another year, another quarter for the first year. So thank you for everybody coming to the Opportunity Day. So if you all have any questions, feel free to ask. Don't be shy. Okay. Firstly, I think I would like to say that to give you all some kind of overview first, because a lot of people are asking.Whether what is the current situation now in Thailand, as comparing to ASEAN opening. So as most of you have seen and know that Amata today we have already starting to expand much more further in Vietnam. Okay, that is first thing that we do, and we also follow our plan.As what we have said, our 5 years plan. So in these next 3 years, we will be a lot more focusing on Vietnam. One of the things that looking at the economy situation in Thailand today, with the latest figure that we have seen from the GDP, which is about 3.2% on the 4 months, right?So how is actually the market sector now in Thailand? So I cannot speak about many other sectors except for our industrial sector in Thailand. I would say that today, what my staff, Kunarapon, she will show you about the pre-land sales today for quarter 1, which is not so, I would say, not so high.And one of the reasons is also that, as you can understand, in the last year, there is a change of the investment policy, meaning that we are changing from, to become like cluster or super cluster. So actually, there's a lot of investor. They have a so-called rethinking, okay, and considerations.So I would not be surprised on the first quarter, you will see the impact. There is not a lot of land sale. That's the same as our peer, which is also they didn't have a lot of land sale. But that doesn't mean that Thailand is not progressing. Because if you're looking at quarter 2 now, because if you're up to today,Year to date, we have almost 250 rai already, comparing the first quarter, which is about 70 over rai. You see, there's a big difference now. So, actually, how do we looking at in terms of Thailand overview for the outlook in the coming years? As I mentioned in the last year, at the end of last year, it never changed, because this year, the first half, you will start to see more slower. But the peak will be more coming on the second half. Okay, this is what I'm going to tell you after Kunarapon have highlighted to you the result of Q1. What will be the result like? Okay, and I will give you all some outlook about the first half and what do we expect at the second half. Okay, so in terms of Thailand outlook today, we still seeing there's a lot of investment. They are interested to invest in Thailand. I believe you have seen many news from everywhere, okay, posting that auto sector still continuing to invest in Thailand, not only from Japan, but also from China. Okay, this is one of the key things that we all have to remember. I would say that auto sector, is it going to be higher than last year? I'm not so sure yet, depending on what is the demand like. Okay, when there's a demand, there's a supply. Today, actually, they're looking at the export side for Thailand. Is still there's a demand. So this is just the overview to let you all know. Yeah. And the other one is that what about the I would say in Thailand as compared to Vietnam or even Indonesia or even Myanmar or some other country, we are now all in competitive positions because every country now they're setting up incentive. They're setting up incentive, trying to compete to each other. Okay, Vietnam now they are trying to boost more incentive now to attract more FDI, more investment. So that is already competing in Thailand. So Thailand now we also trying to promote more to attract, giving more incentive to attract more investor. So it's the same for Indonesia. Indonesia currently is also one of the key investment places in ASEAN for a lot of investors. So Japan not only investing in Thailand, but they are also having the option to invest in Indonesia or even in Vietnam. Okay. I would say for China today, what we are seeing that there are a lot more Chinese investment flowing in. Are they buying more land? They are making a lot of inquiry on Thailand, buying land in Thailand, okay, setting up their productions. As you can see, lately and latest, there's news about Chinese company for solar company that they have bought the land from Amata in Amata City, that they are expanding their production line. In Thailand, their investment for Trina is only 10% of their total productions. So they wanted to see that if they're going to grow further, they will buy more land and do more expansion. So this is the situation now today, what we see as from the industrial sector. There is a lot more, I would say, supply chain coming in because there is also like SAIC, they have bought the land in Thailand, and you will start to see a lot more Chinese supply chain coming in. So this is what we will be expecting from the outlook for this year. I think I will highlight to you all more about what will be the result like for at the end of this year after Kunarapon has announced to you the result. Okay, now I hand it to Kunarapon first.
Thank you. So for the update on the pre-land sales and the land transfer, for the first quarter of this year, we have the total pre-land sales of 78 rai, mainly from Vietnam. So majority we also got for Vietnam, about 50% we got from the Korean customers, and also Nakhon and Thai Chinese, because this is the first quarter of the year. So as Kun Stephen mentioned earlier that for the first half, we expect to be at least 250 rai at least for the first half. And for the land transfer, for the first quarter of this year, we have transferred 56 rai of land. This could be considered as the lowest quarter that we get to transfer the land, because the remaining backlog of around 1.6 billion baht that we have as a backlog we expect that at least 50 to 60% will be transferred in this year, and it will be separate. Distribute approximately throughout the year. So, if your roughly calculation, next quarter and the following quarter, the transfer would be a bit higher. So, any questions on this? So, I will continue on the result for the first quarter of this year. So, the overall result, because we have the low land transfer, it result in the total revenue drop 33%. But however, the utilities for us still increasing. The rental drop is mainly from the spin-off of our ready-built factory to the REIT. Because last year we spin off the ready-built factory to the REIT in the second quarter of 2015. So in the first quarter, we still have the revenue coming from the ready-built factory in Thailand. This is the change that you can see significantly. It's come from the real estate sales, which is the land transfer. So that's result in the proportion. We have 32% land sales versus 68% recurring income. Because normally our land sales and recurring income proportion usually for Thailand, for Amata Group, it's split around 60-40 or 70-30. But because of the low land transfer, so we expect that this will be for the first half, this proportion that you could see. So for the overall growth, you can see that the utilities will still keep growing up, and also the facility service as well. We also expand in terms of the scope of the facility service that we provide to our customer. And also the increase in the revenue from the utilities, mainly because we also increase our selling price on the water unit. So this is the overall picture for the total P&L for Amata Corporation for the first quarter. Due to the low land transfer, the total revenue drop and also the EBIT. The financial expense we still a little bit higher compared to last year because we have more borrowing for Amata BN. And also the profit from investment in associate, it's a little bit low because of the NGD impact, our investment in the natural gas distribution. However, our power business that we invest with Amata Bigrim is still going well. So that's result in the overall net income for the 80 million baht. So Kun Stephen may would like to give the projection on what you will expect for this year.
Thank you. So, based on what Kun Narapon have said, I'd just like to give you all a summary point again. Okay? First thing, pre-land sales. Pre-land sales, I would say, is weak in quarter one. So we're talking about 7 or 7-something% of our target for this year, right? And the revenue, as you can see, we only reach about 800 million. So this is the summary point, yeah. The weak, I would say the lower revenue in quarter one, mainly due to the transfer of land, okay? And also the recovery on our ready-built factory where we have spin off last year. So this is the summary point for the top part. In terms on the gross margin I would say is better, in percent is better. Okay, because of our land sales, yeah. In terms on the our cost adaptation is in control, okay. And I would say in terms on the EPS, we are at about 0.08 versus 0.08 baht versus 0.13 baht compared to last year, okay. What about our debt to bank? The debt to the bank is stable. There's no increase. And our DE ratio today is reasonable. It's not going very high. okay, because we haven't put in a lot of investment yet. In terms on our gearing, we are still maintaining at the low level, okay. And it will be much higher when we're having more investment in Vietnam, okay. And lastly, if you're looking at the last part is about our capex. Our capex-wise, we have set about 6.5 billion. Today, Q1, we spent only 300 million, so which is not very big, okay? So we are maintaining a reasonable level financially, yeah. Cash flow. Cash flow, I would say today, we still have quite a good level of cash. Our IPO for Vietnam, the cash is still there. We haven't spent the money yet, okay? Cash level is still good. In terms on the, we still have some of the land that we have sold. We are still collecting those, a lot of cash for the land sale. So this is the overall summary point for Q1, okay? So moving to what happened to Q2. Because I think today the important thing is our opportunity day today. I would like to highlight two things. First thing, because we know that Q1, the result is not that flashy, okay? It's not that solid. What do we expect for Q2? Or we'll say half year, okay? Half year, when we're looking at half year comparing to last year half year. Don't forget last year half year we have a REIT, where we have launched a REIT. There's a big portion of the REIT that if you're looking at it's not on the screen here. Last year, including the REIT, if I were to remove the REIT, because which is non-recurring, okay, it's a one-time. Without the REIT, okay, I'm looking at comparing our forecast for the first half, the top line may be down by 15%. 15, not 50, 15. Okay. One part mainly because it's coming from the land sales. Land sales, to be honest, for the first half, we are talking about down by 30% comparing to last year first half. But recurring is improved, okay? More than single digit, okay? So overall, it's down by about 15%. So this is what I expect for the first half. So at least to give you all some guideline. So how come you say, are we able to, what do you see by the end of the year? So this is what I wanted to tell you on the second part. What happened to the first year, the result, okay, comparing to the end of the year. This year, I have to be very transparent to tell you that we are talking about between 30 to 35% of what we expect for the result at the end of the year, for the first half. Let me repeat that once more, yeah. The full year, what we are planning to do, in the first half, the whole result, we will be expecting to be reached about 30 to 35%. Okay? The remaining will be more on the second half. Why is it second half again? I mean, to be honest, because based on what we have on the pipeline and potential, this is reality. I mean, I don't want to tell you all that it's not transparent, right? So it's better to let you all know that. So how sure are we to reach that 70% at the end of the year? So based on today, what you see on our land bank, what we have in Nakhon and in City, we have quite a number of plots are ready for sale. Are we able to reach this kind of revenue on the second half? I think the key point is that in Nakhon we can sell. Okay, and at the same time, we can recognize the revenue. So this is what I'm trying to say is, first half, 30 to 35%. Okay? And what about the profit? The profit, it depends. Depends on the mix. Yeah. It could be about down by 20% or 25% comparing to last year without the REIT. Okay? For first half, yeah. Now let's move on to at the end of the year. At the end of the year, I give you two scenarios. Okay? First scenario, looking at the top line. The top line where it is without the REIT. Okay? We're looking at from the revenue can be ranging from 5 to 10%. Worst case can be 5%. Top line, growth 5%. Worst case. Better case can be 10%. Okay? And what about breakdown between land and recurring? So the land, I would expect also around 5 to 15%. This is the swing. Okay? 5 to 15% growth. 15, 1-5, yeah. What about recurring? Recurring, I would expect about 12%. 12% growth. Okay? So that will give you some swing about the at the end of the year top line. Okay. Bottom line, what will be the profit without the REIT? I think this part is very difficult to explain to you all, because at the end of the day, it depending on the profitability, yeah, on the mix that we are selling in Nakhon, how much can we sell in Nakhon, and how much can we sell, in Vietnam. I think some of you all have heard our news in Vietnam this morning. We also have an OppDay in Vietnam. Bottom line, very difficult to explain to you all what will be the bottom line like, for the bottom line at the end of the year. But will it be the same as last year without the REIT? Difficult. Maybe, there will be some difference. How much difference, I cannot tell you now first. So at least I can give you what will be the growth like. Yeah. So this is the outlook, what I see in terms on the financial side, based on our detail, yeah, with the pipeline. So I would rather to be transparent, to talk to all the shareholders and investors, yeah, and also including the analysts, to understand that this is our clear path for the next coming 3 quarters. So I will update again after first half, because I think this is very important. If you have any question, feel free to ask. ก็มีอะไรก็ถามได้นะครับ I will hand over to คุณนรพร
So I would like to go back to the gross margin side. The overall gross margin a little bit improved from 40% to 47%. This mainly come from the land sales that we have already transferred some plot in Amata Nakhon and also the Vietnam side. The margin from Amata Nakhon for the first quarter also improving, plus the Amata Vietnam side improved from around 62% to around 69%. So overall, for the margin overall, as you may know that for Amata, we have totally in 4 sites, Amata Nakhon, Amata City, Thai Chinese, and Vietnam. For Amata Nakhon and Amata Vietnam, the margin is approximately the same, around 60 to 65%. So the Thai Chinese and City, the range will be a little bit lower. So City will be 50 to 55, and Thai Chinese could be around 45 to 50%. And also for the recurring income, the margin improved slightly to around 0.3 points. Mainly come from the increase in, even though we have the decline in the rental gross margin because the part that we spin off to the REIT, that also contribute to lower margin for our rental revenue. But our utilities and service already improved. For the water side, our margin improved from around 20% last year to 32%. And also for the service side, we improved around 20% to 27%. For the rental side, despite the drop, but that's an improvement if you break down. So in Thailand, it's dropped because we sold to the REIT. But in Vietnam side, it's a little bit increased, coming from around 64% to 76%. So in terms of the cash flow, because in the first quarter, we haven't really spent much on the land acquisition for Vietnam, if you attend the first session for Amata BN. But we expect that in coming of the following quarter, maybe quarter 2 or quarter 3, there will be more expenditure for the land acquisition in Amata Vietnam. In terms of the net gearing, we have the net gearing at the end of the first quarter around 27%. And the gross gearing will be around 0.5. So the overall, we have the land bank, as Kun Stephen mentioned earlier, that for Amata Nakhon side, we have the land bank available for sale, 850 rai. So this one, if we could be able to sell within the year, it could be able to transfer in the same year. And Amata City, we have land bank available for sale, 2,800 rai, plus the raw land that we are still under develop. The total is 6,950 rai.
Just for your information, just to recall, Nakhon, our lease price today is 8.5 million per rai. Okay. Amata City is 3.8 million per rai today. So if you're looking at our land bank, that means if we're able to sell at least a few hundred rai, that will make a lot of difference for our at the end of the year results. Okay.
So the price increase we have announced in March 2016. So this is overall. So if you have, yes.
Yeah, if we are selling more in Nakhon, the gross margin will definitely be up. Yes. Mm-hmm. Because today, the good point is that we have those title deed on hand. Meaning that today we are having some pipeline, the potential list that we are talking to. Yeah. Why it is not in quarter 2? I think it's continuing talking. I just talked to our sales people yesterday. Unlikely that we will lock the things in the what we have told you earlier on about first 250 rai. That is year to date. We haven't finished for the quarter 2 yet. So I'm expecting to be complete by about 300 to 350 rai for the first half. Then the remaining will be for the target for this year. So maybe we maintain for the 1,000. Is it achievable? I think today we don't want to give a lot of false hope, but we do have the customer as what Kumibun has highlighted that we are talking to now. Okay. Of course, if we get it, that would be great.
Any questions on the financial part? Yes.
Slide number 12.
Cash flow from operating activity in 2016 quarter 1 coming to red. All investors in the world looking this particular aspect of cash operating activity is positive. Just maintain it. Week to week, fortnight to fortnight, month to month, looking at end of quarter, it should be positive.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree with you because this is what I say that it's very crucial for us to, other than just announce to you the quarter 1 results and also the cash flow. That's why we are highlighting about the cash positions and why we're highlighting about the receivable, collecting the money for our land sales. So today we still have about 1 billion to collect. Okay, for the money. So you are right. Quarter 1, I think quarter 2 you will start to see some change in the operating activities. นะครับ
So any questions?
There's one thing I'd like to share with you all before we go to the project update. With the situation now in Thailand, I think everybody wanted to know what happened to the industrial sector. You know that today we have a couple of industrial sector company, public listed company. If I consolidate their result from last year, 2015 versus 2014, actually there's no negative growth, but there is almost equally the same as 2014 overall. It's very interesting. If I'm looking at our result altogether, Amata and the rest of the other industrial park is the same, top line. And what about versus other country in ASEAN? I also make the comparison. I took the comparison between Thailand as Amata and also Vietnam and Indonesia. We are also the same. The situation is the same like Thailand. Comparing 2015 and 2014, we are the same. That means there's no down, no decline, no growth, but almost the same. 2015 versus 2014 is almost the same. So this is to explain to you about the situation of industrial sector. It's not going down, but it's maintaining the same. Okay. And if you're talking about the regional, who is doing better, whether Thailand, Vietnam, or Indonesia? Today, I can say in Thailand, if I take only Amata, comparing to Vietnam and Indonesia, Vietnam is doing better. Vietnam is doing better. Indonesia, almost the same like Thailand. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry. In the printing, it's wrong, but in the presentation here, it's already correct.
I think you're talking about first quarter, right? The land sales is 32%, and the recurring is 68%. Sorry about the printing error there. Yeah.
Discretionary or it is deliberate. Means you are keeping it in anticipation future price will be appreciating, then it's good. Because this quarter we have low, next quarter we will be getting more. Or if the demand is reduced because of lower FDI coming in, the mass of the country is reduced, what is the question? Can you elaborate more?
So that is one part that I can explain, because in the land sales that you see from here, it's mainly on the schedule, mainly based on the schedule of the land transfer that we have. So that is one part, because some customer we expect to transfer maybe at the end of the year or maybe second quarter or third quarter of the year. So the first quarter we have the low land transfer mainly because of the schedule. But in terms of the demand, we still have some customer that we are talking to. Our sales still talking to like Japanese and Chinese customer.
Yeah. Just to add on to the point what Kunarapon said, we're still seeing the inquiries. So it's not FDI stop, no. They're still seeing inquiries coming in. Why? You see that the first quarter we booked in about 70 override for the pre-land sale. So I mentioned already year to date in May, okay, we already got year to date up to 250 ride already. We already got 250 ride. So I'm expecting probably around 300 to 350 ride. You see? So if we're seeing that there's nothing much purchase of the land, then that will be starting to reflecting the slow in the economy.
Not sure they are new customer or not.
I can say in the 250, there is one customer which is about 100 Rai, which is a Chinese customer. I think this is a new customer. Okay, that's why I was saying that potentially we're still seeing the inflow of investment to Thailand. Remember just now I was mentioning about the Chinese and the Japanese, right? So they are still seeing the potential investing in Thailand. This is good for Thailand. นะครับ Any more question on the financial part?
Regarding your protecting China, I would like to see if you wanted China more because that's the biggest economy of the world.
Yes.
But looking at Vietnam, your investment by AMATA Vietnam,
Yes.
the previous presentation today, they don't show any participation of Chinese customer, Indonesian customer, Malaysian Brunei customer at all. So you should attack especially the biggest economy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the world, so that you will have high income.
Yeah, I think I believe our CEO for AMATA Vietnam, she's looking at this point. Today, I would say in ASEAN, not only about Thailand or not even Vietnam, but as overall, I think we are attracting any investor that are interested to invest in Thailand or in Vietnam. Because the point is that today, it's true, in Vietnam, there's a lot of investment coming from Korea and Japan, no doubt. Yeah, this is something that is picking up a lot. I think in point to change or to come, Chinese side from China, they are also starting to look at more into Vietnam. Yeah. มีคำถามไหมครับ Yes. I can't really give you the breakdown because actually why today I'm giving you some highlight so that you know where we are targeting at the end of the year. Okay? Because you have our target for the recurring at the end of the year. You know what is our recurring margin like. So you base on the estimate first. I think it will be better in that way. Yeah. Yes. I would say
because we have increased our selling price for the water part for almost all the product except the wastewater. So we expect that our margin could be improved, but there could be some expenditure throughout the year. So it may be a little bit reduced compared to the first quarter because it depends on the water situation in Thailand as well.
So there are three things. One thing, the main part is what Kunarupon say is the price increase. Second part is because we also have the AMATA Power block, I think block 4.
Block 4.
Because
COD
it's just started.
last year.
Yeah, just started. So there's a pickup for the demand. I think this is the key point. Yeah. The other is just linked to some penalty that customer not able to fulfill their wastewater expectations, that we charge the penalty. So this is the thing, the three things.
Yeah. Okay. And also another part that contribute to the increase in gross margin also come from the Vietnam side. That in 2015 we have some expenditure that we have invested for the water business. So for the following year, it would be less cost on the certain chemical that we have to use. So that reduced the cost and increased the margin for the water in Vietnam as well.
Okay. There's a question on the screen saying that asking the year-to-date pre-land sales of 250 rai. What sector and countries were they from? So as I mentioned, there's about 100 rai, which is already 100 rai is from Chinese. Nah. As for the other, will be from the Japanese. Yeah. Sector, some of it is from the supply chain of the auto.
For the backlog, 1.6 billion baht. The breakdown for the site, majority we still have some from Amata City and Thai Chinese, and also some remaining backlog from Vietnam side, which is around 0.3 billion baht.
Okay. Any questions so far? Then we can go to the project update. If you have any question ก็ถามได้นะครับ
The third question. The land price in Amata Nakhon, why does it increase? Mainly it's because from what I heard at the beginning of this year, as you may know that the government has already revalued all the land in Thailand. So it results in maybe 15% increase on the average. So because we try to maintain our margin, that's why we have to increase our selling price to match what will be expect to increase in the cost. And land price in Amata City also increased. Yes, our list price for Amata City also increased to 3.8 million baht per rai, compared to the previous listed price of 3.2 million baht per rai.
So do our competitor quote the similar land price of 3.8 million baht per rai in Amata City? I think today some of the industrial park is quoting between this price range, between 3.8, 3.9, or even 4 million per rai in Amata City. So we are around that range of the price today.
The 100 rai from Chinese client, from which industry? It's auto supply chain.
Yes, it's auto supply chain. Feel free to ask any questions, yeah? Yes.
15. ROA.
Our best practice. ROA. ROA.
20 to 10. For the
ROE, you're talking about return on equity, right?
or return on equity.
If you have got the IPO money in hand, not yet used, how you effectively enhance the yield? Would you get a global trade license from UD or any new vision you have in hand to enhance the yield?
So we did the IPO for Amata VN in order to finance the project in the long term, which is the new project that we try to invest. And we have already spent part of the money maybe at the end of the year. Yes. And also we expect to spend some more for the remaining quarter of this year in order to finish the land compensation for the high-tech park in the Amata City Longtan within this year, so that we could start the construction and generate the revenue as we promised in the second half of next year. So this one, after we get the revenue come from this project contribution, which normally on the top line basis, the Amata VN contribute around 10% on the top line and 20% on the bottom line on average. So we expect that after the project, in the second project for the high-tech become to realize, it could contribute more in terms of the top line. Yeah, top line and denominator. So this one will contribute increase in our ROE.
I think this one will make a difference, because Amata Vietnam today we are seeing that they are expecting a good growth, for this year, and plus next year we will also not only have the Vietnam, which is a Bien Hoa, we will also have Long Tan as two contributors. to the top line and also the profit นะครับ
So the target for Vietnam, usually this year we set around 25 hectares, which is around 150 rai. So after the second project become realized, we expect approximately the same or plus for the second project in each year. So do you have any more questions?
You can go to the project update and
So
expansion.
for the project update, as you may know that for the high-tech park, we have done the land compensation. We have already received the investment certificate and currently doing the land compensation. So last year we said we have around 50% land compensated, and currently this year we expect to finish the whole. So up to date, as Kun Somhathai mentioned this morning, that around 70% has been complete.
Yeah.
So the next one for the service city, this one we have just received the investment certificate at the end of March 2016 for the service city township on the east side. So there's a remaining land on the west side that we are still pending to receive the investment certificate, which we expect to receive in the third quarter of this year. And the remaining, so for the mega township, we also expect to receive the investment certificate for 753 hectares within this year as
Amata
well.
City Halong.
Yeah. And the next one, Amata City Halong, we have already applied, the board has already approved to apply the investment certificate for the initial phase that we have announced in the news, about 709 hectares. This one we expect the total registered capital around 60 million. However, our portion will be 70% of the 60 million.
So Amata City Halong is still 5,700 over hectare. So this is the first phase, initial phase. Okay. So I think last time Kun Somathai, she mentioned in the newspaper saying that roughly the starting first phase will be around 500 hectares. So now it's already coming to reality. I mean, not 500, but it's 700 hectares. Okay. The other part maybe you would like to know is that with this project 1 and 2 in Vietnam, what is the capex? Just to refresh everybody's memory. Total capex set for this year is 5 billion. Okay. And out of the 5 billion, we are not going to spend one time. It's going to break down into different parts. So you remember what Kun Narupon was saying about the service city and mega township. So this one, once we get the investment certificate in full, then we have to start to do land compensation. So the money that we will use roughly around 3 billion. Okay. The other one will be more on the high tech. High tech, we also say that we will start the construction by the end of this year. Okay, that means we'll be spending the rest of the other one for the high tech. So total capex for Amata Group is 6.5 billion. Amata Vietnam Group 5 billion. So I hope this is clear. We never change. I always maintain what I said.
Out of these 3 projects, which one is giving you highest IRR, utilization rate?
Which one?
You are talking about these 3 projects, which is the 2 projects, which is one in Long Tan, one in Halong, right? Long Tan you split into 2 projects, which is one in High Tech Park and one is in Mega Township and Service Township. I think, you know, you're asking about the return or what? Sorry? Today we cannot say yet because depending on the deal that we going to settle for the city, service city and mega township. Okay? Because today we still haven't have any finalization yet. Even we talk to some partner. Nah. But high tech, this is what we intend to do. We have, we haven't announced any available land for sale yet because now we are still doing the land compensation. Nah.
Also, the nature of the two projects in Long Tan is a little bit different.
Yeah.
In high tech, it's more in terms of the industrial estate, which is what we are expertise. In the second part on the service city and the mega township, this is more on the residential and commercial area. So we are doing the partnership or selling as a wholesale. So this is quite a little bit different. But also in terms of the location itself, it's more suitable for the residential and commercial on that area because in terms of the area, on the left-hand side, it is the Dong Nai River, which is the riverside, more on the residential part. And also it's on the highway, which is directly from Ho Chi Minh City, passing to our side and going to the new international airport that the government planned to construct in 2018.
Any more other questions?
If you not decide either how much, just to give me roughly what is the range, 15 to 20, 20 to 25, roughly what will be the higher you expect?
You mean for Vietnam or for the whole group?
Usually our policy for the minimum IRR, we expect around 15% plus.
Yeah. That is usually when we are looking on the project, at least we are talking about 15%. Yeah. Welcome. Have any questions? I hope it's clear. I'm giving you all some guide. Don't worry, I will not forget what I said this quarter. So if I meet you all in the half year, I will recall what I said and I will follow up what I said. I think all this time when we are on the OppDay, we are being very transparent and open. I mean, if it is a good news, definitely I will tell you it's good news. Yeah, I would rather to highlight to you things that is more realistic. That's why, maintaining this good relationship. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming to Amata Opportunity Day.
Thank you.
ขอบคุณทุกท่านที่มาร่วมในวันนี้นะคะ